Well, if we're gonna find any ghosts, we better split up.
You're listening to Never Split Up, a horror movie podcast.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back once again to the Never Split Up podcast. My name's Nolan, along with Ant, and this is episode 84. We are covering Final Destination 5, our last and final episode of our Final Destination coverage before the new movie comes out. What's up, Ant? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited that we're all caught up before the new movie comes out. So we're ready to go, fresh eyes to the new one, and then do our review of that, and then our ranking. So this is a very exciting time for us.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like yesterday we were covering the first movie. I can't believe it's been over a month already. About 4 or 5 weeks now since we released the first one. But yeah, we made it. This was a fun little adventure to kind of go through all of these movies. I think this was a good franchise to kind of test the waters with this kind of format, just because there was only 5 movies. We're going to cover the sixth one next week, so stay tuned for that. But that's going to be more of like kind of a reaction. You know, it's going to be interesting to see where it lands on our rankings. We did something similar with the Saw franchise and also with Scream. So we're not new to putting new movies in rankings, but I know your rankings change all the time. Mine might change too with this franchise because it's, I don't know. I don't even have my final rankings for this franchise. And now that we're going to throw 6 or Bloodlines into the mix, it's gonna be an interesting episode.
It's gonna be very interesting because obviously, I mean, recency bias is a thing, and
I
feel like after Scream 6 came out, like, my ranking, clearly that movie changed in my ranking for that franchise. And even like I feel like for you and me, with the new Halloween movies, like I feel like we did a ranking in 2023 and like Ends and Kills are like 2021 and 2022, so that kind of like shifted around our rankings a little bit too. So it's always interesting covering like a brand new movie in the franchise, but I'm going to do my best to, like, not come out with that, excitement from seeing a brand new Final Destination movie, like, really think about it before I place it. And we'll always update it because clearly, if the box office tracking is any indication, there will be a 7, so we'll always be updating our rankings as we go on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. We're going to try to be as, unbiased as possible, but it's almost impossible just because we're not going to be able to sit with the movie. Like, we've watched all of these movies multiple times, and it's been years, so... But it's going to be fun. I can't wait. And we're also going to do not only our rankings, we're going to give out our scores, and we're just kind of cap off the franchise. So look out for that over the next 2 weeks. Okay, before we get into number 5, do you want to just cover any polls or anything that you ran? Or any of the, I know we've been just basically covering the franchise, but you want to shout out any other things?
Yeah, guys, so like Nolan said, I mean, we're really had a fun time covering this franchise. If you're like, we're waiting to binge it till we covered all 5 before the new one. Make sure you guys check it out. I'm going to get all of our polls. I thought it'd be fun to get them all out for this franchise before the 6th one comes out. And then after the 6th one comes out, I'll run that poll. And then so for our ranking episode, we can discuss kind of all the Never Split Up moments. But we've been running other polls for our other episodes. We did a fun one with the, March Madness, Heroes vs. Villains. And I ran a couple polls and I thought the results were pretty interesting. We did Michael Myers versus Nancy Thompson from A Nightmare on Elm Street and Michael Myers over. We run the polls, guys, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you guys aren't on one platform, you should be able to vote somewhere. But Michael Myers came out on top for that one. I think we did.
I was surprised by that.
I know. I was like, Nancy's like the top tier.
Yeah, well, I mean, Michael is, Michael. I know. So, but I was a little surprised that people didn't take Nancy.
I feel like
we took Michael too, so it's not like
that's what I was trying to say.
But it was a discussion. I think I initially had Nancy until we discussed it, and then I was like, I'm going to take Michael. Yeah,
I don't have the exact numbers, but even the one for Sienna Shaw versus Maxine, that was a little closer than I thought it would be, just because the Terrifier movies are so big now. I thought it would be like a landslide, and we kind of had a little back and forth on that. I believe Sienna Shaw did come out on top, but it was like Maxine got some love. A lot of love on those polls too. Brody versus Hannibal Lecter. I love Lecter, but I think people didn't like take a step back because like, oh, Hannibal Lecter is the villain. But Brody has like Chop. So he didn't win, but he did get some love. But I wanted a little more for him because we did choose him. And then the like fucking argument of the century is always going to be Sydney versus Laurie. So obviously everyone has their favorites. Sydney did win the poll, but they're both awesome. So again, it's just for fun. I mean, we don't hate on any character. Yeah. It's just people have their favorites, and you know, it just is what it is. But I thought that was fun. And then I did run the poll for Ginger Snap. So make sure you guys vote for that. We had a couple fun moments there, and yeah, we're gonna be caught up. We just have to do the one for 28 Days Later, which I'll run, and then we're kicking into this franchise. So we're catching up on that too. We love the interaction with the polls. It's just a fun thing to do. But yeah. So now we're caught up and we're ready to finish out this franchise, and then we have a lot of other goodies. Pretty much nonstop through July we have plans, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of new releases we're going to be covering. Obviously, this is a busy summer for horror. We got a classic in the works, cooking in the works, a very special episode. We're going way back, I think 70 plus years to a classic. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun episodes coming your way. That episode to come out.
Stay tuned, guys. We did record that episode. We won't give away the title yet, but I thought it was a great discussion, and I'm so happy that I got to rewatch that movie. That's the great thing about this podcast is that we get to rewatch things. I'm like, oh shit, that movie's kind of a masterpiece.
Yep, for sure, for sure. Okay, let's get into Final Destination 5. Like I said, released in 2011, and cover the synopsis, cast, crew, all that fun stuff.
All right, guys. So, like Nolan said, it came out in 2011, and the IMDb synopsis is: Death returns to claim the lucky survivors of a deadly bridge collapse in the 5th frightening installment in the series. It was directed by Stephen Quayle, so new-time director of the franchise. I looked him up, and he also directed it was like a 2014 kind of like disaster movie, disaster kind of found footage, kind of not, Into the Storm. I thought that was a fun, cheesy, disaster movie. I saw that in theaters when it came out. And it's written by Jeffrey Riddick and Eric Heiser. Jeffrey Riddick's been involved with the whole franchise. It stars Nicholas D'Agosto. He's the one who has the premonition. And he's like a working actor, but I knew him before this movie from that comedy Fired Up. I think it's a hilarious movie. It also stars Emma Bell, so horror fans will know her from The Walking Dead and the movie Frozen. And then we have a bunch of supporting characters. Arlen S. Scarpita, he was in the Friday the 13th remake. We have Miles Fisher, who played Peter. He kind of reminds me of like a very young Tom Cruise. And we have Tony Todd making his return. He was missing some from part 4, so that should have been a sign right there. But he's back in part 5. We got David Koechner's in this. Courtney B. Vance is in this. So it's a pretty, I would say, obviously, a pretty big upgrade from part 4's cast. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. This is the second highest grossing in the franchise worldwide, but it is the lowest grossing domestically, and I think that's where they felt the effects of part 4 reception wise. But still, obviously, the franchise doesn't have an unsuccessful installment, so they're still kicking. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I think that's also a little bit. Obviously that's because of 4, but I think that's also a little bit of fatigue, maybe franchise fatigue. We were just talking before we recorded how this came out only 2 years later after 4, so maybe it would have been better if they waited just a couple more years to kind of build that hype a little bit, but yeah.
I also think maybe like 2009 was like the year of 3D, and I feel like this was also a 3D release. You can tell by some of the scenes. I feel like by that point it might have been played out in that regard too a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. Let's get into our initial thoughts. I have a feeling we're going to be a little different this time around. Actually, I don't really know your thoughts on this movie in particular, but we've been kind of lockstep. I know you I think this franchise means a little bit more to you than it does to me, so maybe you're a little bit higher on everything, but we've been kind of agreeing so this whole time.
For the most part, right?
For the most part, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one, because I have some interesting thoughts that I don't know if it's as popular as other people's. So why don't you go first?
We love unique opinions. And you've also been very good, because I really don't know. I have a feeling I might know what your favorite one is, but I really don't know. Like, I have no idea where your ranking really is.
I don't even know what my favorite one is. So
besides, I know
I'm not doing that intentional.
I mean, I don't know your thoughts on this, but as of like last week's recording, I know what your least favorite is so far. But other than that, you know what I mean? So it's going to be very fun. But yeah, all right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, guys, we talked. I feel like I was very harsh last week. I do think 4 is a silly, fun movie to like watch and have fun with, but it's just not great Final Destination. And I do think that Final Destination 5 is a clear step back in the right direction. I think The characters, again, I'm not, because I don't want to go into too much because I don't want to give away any rankings, but the characters are way better than 4, but they don't touch the OG trilogy. Still, I don't think they pop as much as the OG trilogy. I think the main guy, Nicholas D'Acosta Sam in this one, I think he's a huge improvement from, I think the guy's name was Nick in 4, but he still has that. They're way better acting in this movie, but they still have the moments of, I feel like we're slightly tipping into 4 territory with some of the hokey, like trying to be camp acting, or maybe the direction. But for the most part, it's a huge upgrade. I think Emma Bell was awesome in this movie. My favorite is the girl. I don't know why she's just the hot girl, but she's also just like, oh, badass. I was rooting for her to survive. The one with the eye. I don't remember her name in the movie,
Olivia.
but Olivia. Yeah, Olivia. I love me some Olivia. But I think that overall, this was a huge step up from 4. I think that if this wasn't in 3D, and they didn't, again, my critique with 4 is that, and Nolan like said it perfectly, that it looked like video game effects. I think that they handled the 3D gimmick better in this. They had a couple moments where I'm like, oh no, you're going back to the super CGI effects that kind of like take it down, whereas like part 3 was ridiculous and over the top, but it still felt like people were like dying, and it looked ridiculous, but it looked like, people were dead for the most part. There's a couple moments in this where it still has the hyper CGI, which throws me out of it a little bit, but overall, they really took advantage of the 3D much better, and I felt like the death scenes were way better than 4. It has some of like pretty gnarly fun deaths in this movie, and I like that it came back. We'll get into the certain sequences, but I like that it came back to like the Final Destination 2 and Final Destination 3 build-up of the set pieces. Just wasn't like random death cuts like in 4. I think the opening scene is a huge improvement over 4 because like a lot of people, I don't have the fear, but a lot of people are afraid of bridges, and I thought they played with that as well. I don't know if the suspense was built up as good as the original trilogy, but I think for the most part, for most of the movie, it's a very, very, very good Final Destination movie. I feel like it takes parts of 1, 2, 3, and like a couple hiccups from 4 that lend to the cheesiness. But I feel like parts 1, 2, and 3, the highs of that franchise, that trilogy, there's not a high like that in this installment, but it's just a combination, which makes it an awesome Final Destination movie. And then it's so important on how you end a movie, because that's what you leave a movie with. And the ending of this movie, I mean, I will tell you, when I saw it in theaters, everyone was gasping. I don't even remember who I was with, but I pretty much fell off the chair. I was like, how did I not catch this ending? Because when you go back and watch it, it's like, all the clues were there. So I think the movie ends as a perfect wraparound, especially because we haven't had a Final Destination movie in 14 years, so to leave it at that for the time being was beautiful. Beautiful chef's kiss, and it's really important that you go on a high note, and this movie did with that ending. So yeah, overall, I would just say it's a really good Final Destination movie. It's not the best, but I think that it takes little pieces of each movie and does very well, even though it doesn't hit the highs of maybe each other movie. And then the ending's just a fucking banger. So yeah, I love Final Destination 5. I have a lot of fun with it. Clearly from our mini review, it's not going to be my number 1, but it's not my last place either. So I really, really, really adore Final Destination 5, and I'm so happy that they did that wraparound at the end, because I'm telling you, my jaw was on the floor. And I was back in the day where, 2011, it wasn't like Twitter now where everything's like, if you go on, it's like, close your eyes or else you're spoiled. So I had no idea. And it was just fun to like take my like childhood Final Destination fan and like gag me like that. So yeah, I adore this one. It's a fun time. What about you?
Okay, yeah, there's some things I agree with you there. I do think they handled the 3D better.
Yeah.
I do think it is it's better looking than 4 for sure. Overall, it does have, like you said, it does have a couple moments where it kind of maybe takes you out of it a little bit, but it's quick, so it doesn't really linger on like the whole 3D effects and everything. Like in 4, like they have like these extended shots of like blood and guts, and like we were saying, and watch the last episode, and we really talk about 4 a lot, but it's like a video game. They don't get that in this movie, so I think that was done correctly. I don't love this movie though. I think I'm a little bit down on it compared to a lot of other people that love this franchise. I think, like you said, I think a lot of people think this is kind of a return to form. I don't. I think it does still feel too similar to 4, and it just in terms of quality, I think you have the first three are on just a different level than this one. I don't know what it is. It's because, like I said, it does look better, like, physically looks better. It still has that like polished look to it, and I don't love the characters. I would say maybe they're a step above 4, just because, like you said, maybe the acting is better, and that's a low bar because in 4 it was in the gutter. I mean, you have a couple great like C-list actors like David Kochner. I mean, I love him. Everything he does, I love him. Right. So he's a good character. But in terms of the overall scope, I actually remember I mentioned, it's funny I mentioned this. I think it was last episode how every single movie is paced really well. I think this one has some pacing issues. I'm not going to lie, which is funny because there's a lot of deaths in this movie. There's, I believe we have, of the main survivors, there's 8 people that are kind of our main leads in terms of they survived the bridge crash, which is a lot of people, and it's a lot of deaths that play out over only an hour and a half, 90-minute runtime. So, but it's still, there was still a couple moments and scenes where I'm kind of like, all right, let's get going here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just, this one's not great. It's definitely not as bad as 4, but I don't think it's at the same level as our original trilogy. It's not as fun, I think, is the main thing. Like, when I watch these movies, I want to have fun. I don't really feel that sense of suspension with a lot of these set pieces. There's a lot of fake outs again, especially in the first couple deaths, and then they kind of get away from that. But yeah, there's no real death that's like a big standout for me either. Like you were saying,
really?
we were saying in the past how, you know, each movie has 1 or 2 deaths that like you can go to when you think of the movie and you're talking about it in a conversation. I don't get that from this movie, and maybe because I haven't watched it as many times, but I just don't go back to this movie in terms of like iconic deaths. The opening scene, and we'll obviously get into the opening scene right away when we get into the spoiler part. Not a fan of the opening scene. I think it's too played out. We've seen so many bridge collapses in movies and movie history. Like it's such a played out trope that it kind of takes away the uniqueness of what the franchise is so great at doing, especially in these opening sequences. I do think it was cool, like some of the premonitions that he had and stuff. It kind of harkened back to the first 2 and even 3. So I thought that was a little cool, but I just don't love the whole bridge of it all. And yeah, this is just a very not memorable film. Other than the ending, I will give you the ending. I mean, that's just fun. That's the most fun part, I will say. It's not that fun for me, this one, and I have some issues. I have some issues with Tony Todd's character. I have some issues with a lot of little things. I can't wait to get into it, but yeah, I don't think I'm as high on this one as you are. This one might end up being like kind of similar in our rankings, though, because it sounds like we kind of fit it, in our rankings similarly. But I'm definitely a little bit lower than you.
Well, we'll see when the new one comes out, because now I just
that's gonna throw.
It's gonna be. I'm gonna be very curious, but I will. I think I'm clearly, obviously, a lot higher on this. And then again, it's my number. I think my 4th favorite franchise, but I'm a lot higher on this one than you. But I will agree with you. Like I said, the characters, I think we're pretty much in sync on that. Better than 4. They don't touch the chemistry and like I can tell you the characters of the first 3. Like don't know if you ask me who's the star of 5, I'm gonna say his name was Sam. The top of my head. So I agree with you on that. I do think it's like missing some of the flavor of the OG trilogy, but again, it's just when you watch this back to back with 4, it's like they got back to like at least what made, in my opinion, like Final Destination, even if it's not as iconic as the OG trilogy. And I will say there's a couple, I want to get into the Destinies, but I think there's 1 or 2 that I'll always think of that are like, these are like the gotchas. We'll get into it when we get to the movie. But I think overall, I know, I see where you're coming from. And I do think if we were to rank the franchise right now, this might be in our same ranking spot.
We'll see. We'll see what 6 does. But no, you're right. I think this is kind of a little bit of a bad script. We talked in the previous episodes, especially the first 3 movies, how genius the script was. I think these characters suffer from that. I don't think it's really the acting performances themselves. I don't like how we have like a co-lead with Sam and Peter, And the fact that they kind of look similar too in some scenes, like they dress the same and they kind of have similar hair. It's very confusing. It took me, I think, good like half the movie to remember who Peter was and who Sam was. It's like, oh wait, Sam's the one that's dating Molly, right? Okay, got it. So I think the script didn't do the characters any favors, and it was, they went for some swings, and the ending, we'll talk about the ending, is definitely unique. But yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. What did you want to say? Go ahead.
Well, I just want to, because I remember the last movie, we both agreed that I forget her name in the movie, but the actress from One Tree Hill, we thought should have been like the lead. Do you think that Molly should have been the lead in this, or are you fine with Sam?
No, I think Sam would have been fine with a better script. That's kind of where I'm getting at. If he wasn't overshadowed by Peter. I mean, Peter had a lot of screen time, and by the end, we didn't even talk about the detectives. We're reintroduced to the FBI for the first time in a while in this franchise. So I just think, the script was a little messy. But yeah, I love Emma Bell. She did a good job at playing Molly.
She's awesome.
I thought the guy who played Sam did fine. I just, it was just the way it played out was just a little confusing. That's all.
And I'm really excited to get to the end at some point because we've talked about, I forget what episode, where like if it's death, like the main, it was Final Destination 3 because McKinley came into play at the end. This one we actually do have like, in the end, someone coming into play, like someone's actually trying to do a killing and not death. Death's in play always, but you know what I mean? Someone's trying to take it into his own hands. So I want to see how that played out for you, because we did comment on how happy we were that it wasn't like a whole McKinley stalking Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character in Final Destination 3. We're kind of like, all right, Wendy's good and we're good. So I'm curious to get into that part of this, but let's get into the opening. So is it because you think bridges are played out, or you think it was just executed bad? Like what? Because I thought it was a huge step from 4. Do you like this more than 4?
The actual like deaths, I think, were definitely a big step up. 4 was just like very blah. I don't know. I thought the concept of 4 was better than the bridge, but I think the execution was a little better in 5, so I will give it that.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I'm sitting there watching it, and there's these awesome panoramic shots of the bridge, the suspension bridge, and it's collapsing, and I'm just sitting there like, this would be so cool if I hadn't seen this 100 times in other movies. You know what I mean? I just think they could have used a more unique premise.
Okay, I hear what you're saying about the actual like bridge collapse, but I do think the individual, like again, we get in these movies, like the individual deaths were pretty sweet. And again, I'll throw out the one that like took me out of it a little bit the most was the gymnast one. Like she goes on top of the sailboat, and that's like clearly a 3D again, because they're feeding into the 3D, which I'm like, that was hokey. But I think the other ones were pretty sweet until they got to the end where Sam's actually like woken up from his premonition. His like 3D death was pretty hokey. But I thought Olivia, like you're like, oh, she can't see, like obviously her eyes are gonna play into it because she's wearing glasses. And then I like when she falls into the water, you're like, oh, she made it. And then you're like, oh fuck, the car's coming down. I always get a little giggle out of that. And I really like her. I wanted her to survive, but I think that it had enough quick jolts of kills. Like what's the guy's name who got a quick, like something just smashed him. What the heck was his name? Nathan. He got smashed quick, and then you have David Koechner's death was pretty gnarly when he got friggin' the hot fucking oil, whatever that was, cement spilled on him. That was crazy.
That was crazy. That's probably my favorite death in the whole movie, honestly.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think
the effects were actually pretty cool.
That was awesome in that.
Yeah.
So I think it played it overall pretty well, but I do think that, like you mentioned, I think that like 1, 2, and 3 really had like they had like super impactful.
I think the best part of this sequence is it took its time, unlike 4.
Yes.
Well, obviously the leading up to it with all the signs and stuff, it's very reminiscent of 1. And then the deaths themselves, like each death, you said there was a couple quick deaths, but a lot of the deaths had like their own like mini kind of sequence.
Which I appreciated,
set piece. So it definitely took its time. It was more of a big dramatic event where each person was just getting picked off one by one. I remember making a mental note like, okay, she dies first, and then
the order,
they die second and third. So I was trying to remember the order, and it gave you time to do that, unlike 4 where everything happens
at
once.
Like what's going on, like and Peter's like friggin' Peter Parker though, the way he's jumping on like damn dude. All right, what did you feel about this? Is interesting. And I want to know if it took away any suspense for you, or because you don't know it's a movie about death, it doesn't matter. She could die anyway. But Molly doesn't die in the premonition. So did that leave you a little bit like oh damn, so I don't have like to worry about her. Like, do you not feel like suspense towards her for the rest of the movie because she doesn't
No,
die?
I mean,
in the
I
opening
mean,
scene.
I picked up on it, so you know, you don't feel that suspense but you know it's going to come into play at the end of the movie.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah.
that's where the suspense kicks in.
I feel
where
the
you
same
know
way,
sooner or later something's going to happen with that. And I don't know about you, but as soon as they started talking about, kill or be killed, I knew
Yes.
Molly was going to play into that because she wasn't
Right.
supposed to die ever. So I actually liked that wrinkle. I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
interesting because I remember seeing the premonition for the first time and being like, wait a minute, we didn't see Molly die. She was on the
Right.
other side of the collapse. That's pretty interesting. I want to see how this plays out. So I think that was actually clever. What about you?
I think that because she didn't die, and because of the way the ending plays out, where it's Peter trying to kill someone, I give it more of a pass that like it wasn't like a big death set piece at the end because she didn't die, so we needed to have some climax. And I thought the fact that they were going to go that route, I think it was smart to have him go after Molly because she's finally threatened a little bit. So I allowed the ending where I think death is always should be the big bad, the silent stalker slasher of these movies. I appreciated, like you said, the concept of, kill someone else, take the remaining years they have left. And, Peter's whole thing is like, why does Molly deserve to live? Which is ridiculous. Like, why does Molly deserve to live while everyone else died? Acting like Sam chose who would go. But I thought it was, if they were going to play it out that way, it was the right way to do it. So I do agree with you that I appreciated that little wrinkle and a new concept they had with the franchise.
Okay. In that same vein, let's talk about Bloodworth.
Okay.
Tony Todd. How did you feel about his appearances? He had quite a few appearances in this movie.
He
I would
popped
say
up not
probably
just
the
one
most
scene.
most screen time in the whole franchise so far. We'll see.
I mean, I
about
know you
6,
said
but-
I know you said you have, I don't know, some questions or issues, but I think for the most part it was probably like the same amount of screen time, just like a little quicker cuts. He was in multiple scenes, but he didn't have a whole too big monologue like he did in 1 and 2. He had some little he's the one who told him about like kill or be killed and new life and all this again in this one. But I mean, it's just seeing Tony Todd and hearing his voice, it's gonna always get me. And I appreciated him in this one, and I cannot wait to see what they do with him in his final role. I do think it's fitting that his final role is in a Final Destination movie. But I loved seeing him pop up. Again, I think the secret juice of the franchise is that he is a quick cameo and they leave you wanting more. But goddamn, every movie, I always want more of him. But I think that's kind of their secret weapon, that he is just kind of like sprinkled in a tiny bit. But what I'm curious to know what questions or I don't know if you said issues or like questions you had about him in this one.
I mean, look, listen, anytime Tony Todd shows up, I'm
Right.
gonna like it. So I'm not saying like he shouldn't be in the movie at all, but
Yeah, no, like story.
the way they
talking
handled
about, yeah.
him, I don't like how he did the whole Grim Reaper thing where he was showing up like and then
After
disappearing.
deaths.
I know that was kind of like a fake out because then he gets his one big speech was kind of outside of his truck. I forget what death it was outside. It was after. I forget what death it was after, but they're all kind of huddled together. It's the 4 of them, and then I can't remember. But I love when Bloodworth is cryptic, and I feel like he just wasn't the same in this. He kind of basically just tells them like, yeah, you gotta like kill people, and they kind of introduce that wrinkle. And he's not cryptic at all. He just feels kind of like a different character. The way I kind of describe it in my headcanon is he's seen this a bunch of times now, so now he's just trying to like, because I still don't think he knows the answers. I think this is him just trying to have fun with it.
Mr. Grim Reaper? Like, do we know if he's like? There's
They
such a
definitely
question.
bring that up like in this movie, and they play it up. I'm still gonna hold on to the fact that he's just a coroner with a fucked up mind, and I think he just is trying to have fun with it now. And he's like throwing it out there, like, oh, maybe if you kill someone, like you'll get their years. I think he's trying different experiments with these poor people.
It's almost like he's like, I'm trying to help you a little bit, but I'm also like on Death's team. I want to see everyone get fucked. Like he's trying to do a mixture of both. Like you have the chance to live, but let's see how it plays out and let's see what Death can do. I think it's I see what you're saying, that he kind of like blatantly kind of like gives them a go-to in this one. But again, it's just seeing him play that. Like we don't know. Like I like that we don't have an answer. Is he just a coroner? does he know something about death? Is he a part of Death's design? Is he working for the Grim Reaper? Is he the Grim Reaper? So I think it still keeps that mystery, but I see what you're saying where he pretty much like, try this.
Does. Yeah,
he's like, try this, do this. Yeah.
I love the one line he says. I think it was one of the last lines he says is, I'm going to misquote it, but it's something like, the game is played, like, once the game is over, that's when I come in and I, like, clean it up or something like that. I forget what the line was, but that was pretty badass.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I just love... I think it was, I don't make the rules, I just clean up after the game is over. I love that line exactly, so much. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
Because they're saying, like, that's fucked up that you have to take someone's life. He's like, hey, I don't make the rules. Yeah. But I don't know. So do you kind of feel differently? I know they don't implicitly say it, like what his role is, but in your universe,
listen,
how do you interpret this character? Because now we're through all 5 movies. What's your?
It's so weird because I'm a less is more, obviously, like less is more with Michael Myers, less is more with death. Like, what is it? I don't want a full on answer, but there's something in me where like I want him to just be a corner and just like be interested and fascinated, but I don't know why I think he has more of a part of it. Like, I think there's something in me that just think he's some sort of, I don't know if he is the devil or but he's some sort of Grim Reaper or he's some sort of, I don't know. I just have it like my lore in my head leads me like leaning towards that. He's some sort of Grim Reaper type figure for death. Working for death or something.
PA announcer on the
yeah, exactly. PA announcer, amusement park.
yeah.
So he's got to be something. I don't know, but I like that we don't. Again, I don't know if I want. It's going to be emotional in part 6 because it's his final showing, but I don't know if I even still want a full on answer as to what he is because that's the magic.
Yeah, I don't know if I want a full on answer, and I don't know if this is asking too much, but. Because obviously he passed away. Were they still filming when he passed away?
I believe no. I believe he filmed, but I do also believe I read an info that he was like very ill while filming. So I don't know how much he was able to film. So it might be like so the other movies. Not going to know
how they would have pulled this off if he was still alive, and like how they would have the foresight. But it would be awesome if Death came after him in this new movie. I don't know. I think that would just be an awesome way for him to go and, with his career and everything. I don't know how you feel about that. Maybe they could have like reshot a couple things after his death or did some cool, movie magic. But
I hear what you're saying. I hope he gets like a fitting send-off where there's like a send-off where there's some sort of finality to his character, but also while keeping his actual like character Bloodworth mysterious. But I hope he gets something juicy because it's Tony Todd. He deserves to go out with a bang and not just so like, hey, what's up?
I have a feeling they're going to go the other way. I have a feeling he's just going to have a cameo because,
it's definitely going to be a cameo, but maybe it's going to be like I don't know. It's going to be hopefully it's powerful, whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so let's get into I guess the deaths. We'll get to Candace's death first.
Yeah, so dude, this is one of the deaths where I feel like when I think of this movie, it pops. Like this is old school build up, Final Destination. I think it's an excellent set piece. Where she's on the balance beams, you have the nail there. You're like, when's she gonna step on it? Everything like it's the air conditions broke, so there's the fans are on and there's water leaking. So I kind of feel like it has that. This is like an old school death from like the OG trilogy where there's a build up. And I just fucking remember the first time because it's not even her who lands on the nail. It's another gymnast. She does it, and then it just. The chalk gets blown in her face and she's like twirling around that thing. And the way she fucking like snaps, like bends and snaps literally, like that fucking jolted me. And the good kind of camp is like right after that, someone yelled, so like, someone call 911. I'm like, yo, she's fucking dead. She's bent in half. Like, what do you mean call 911? There's no saving her. So I fucking howl every time I hear that line. Like, oh my God, get help, call 911. I'm like, who are you gonna help? She's gone. But I fucking love this sequence. What about you?
I'm a little conflicted on it because I will agree it definitely has the build up and I mean it has build up. It has a lot of build up. I mean, some would argue maybe it's a little too much. But I've said this in the past, and I think I even knocked part 2. So many fake outs that don't even come into play. I understand like 1 or 2 fake outs, but in the end, when you actually look at the death itself, it was a girl tripped on a nail and hit powder into Candace's face, and that's why she died. The air conditioning, the electrical side, everything, even the loose screw had no part in it, and it's kind of like a little bit of a letdown that it wasn't.
Oh, okay, so you did the opposite.
There's so many fake outs.
Like that's the charm of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like there's a fake out.
I hate the sequence where the FBI guys show up to the crime scene.
Oh, Courtney B.
And he's asking his partner, like, can you recreate this kill for me? And he's like, I literally can. He's like, this is some freaky shit, the way it happened. And I'm like, sitting there like, it kind of wasn't, though. Like, we as the audience saw everything that was going on, but if you're looking at just the death, it was the girl slipped off the bar and bent over backwards on herself, and that's how she died. I mean, it wasn't that freaky if you're looking at it from like a FBI standpoint. So I hated that line. That was probably my least favorite line in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think the FBI agents in this one are a little forgettable, but I do like how Block, he, like, unlike the first one, he's not 100% dismissive of Sam. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but like, I know you guys didn't do it. Like when the deaths start happening, I do like that because it's so played out with like, let's blame Sam for the deaths. Again, I'm happy they didn't go like the Alex route again because we already did that. So I do appreciate that, but I think overall they are pretty forgettable.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought Block was pretty good. I thought he had a good amount of screen time. I don't think he overshadowed the story that was happening. I thought they handled, actually, that's probably one of the things I thought they handled pretty well. And I, like you said, I thought it was an interesting how he thought he had something to do with it in the beginning. I believe he said like, "Oh, I believe we're going to be seeing each other again," just a hunch. But then by the end of it, he's kind of just like pleading with Sam and Molly, just saying like, "Do you guys know anything? Like, I know you guys didn't do this. You got to help me out. Like, what's going on here?" So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
So this is like kind of like a not an all-timer death, but you don't hate it. I think this is one of my
I don't hate it. No, I don't hate it. It's just kind of I don't know. It's just the death itself was a little bit of a letdown for me. It was, in the moment it is like, oh shit, it gets you, but then when you sit with it, it's like, okay, all right.
What do you think about we didn't even talk about Isaac. He's like a scumbag, like nerdy looking dude. He's just sleazy, so you're kind of like waiting for his death. What do you think about him, like the massage parlor, like acupuncture, all that? Because that was also a build up too, and the way he went is not what you expect because there's even like a fire, an explosion, then he just gets smashed in the head. I thought that was hilarious.
No, I actually think Isaac is a great balance of the two. I think there were things that came into play that weren't fake outs. There were some fake outs that you thought maybe it would go a different direction, but no, I thought this was a pretty cool death. Again, not super memorable. I don't think any of these deaths are going to be up there on my ranking for franchise deaths, but I do think that they handled this sequence a little bit better, at least for my liking, than Candace's death. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the acupuncture is... gives me the...
I'm like, yes, they went there. But you almost think like that's going to have something to do with his death, but he almost just gets, cut because he falls, and then it's hilarious. He just gets smashed in the head. I love that part.
I know.
What Olivia's death breaks my heart because I don't know, I wanted her to survive. And I don't know. She was like the ones I was like fist pumping. I'm like, come on, girl.
Really?
You got this. I don't know why. I don't know. She did something for me. The actress and the character. I wanted her to make it out.
Yeah, I mean, she was a little, I don't know. She was good looking, but I don't know. She kind of was like a callback to, I think, she's a character that would fit in like part 2 or part 3. Yeah. Like one of those. And definitely, I mean, her death sequence is definitely straight out of part 2 with the dentist office. I've got the same
it brought me back to that and that stupid doctor.
Yeah, how they leave the office, they leave the room. Like, what kind of, like, dude, seriously? You put her head in place, you put the thing on her eye, and then you leave her. You can't move, like that?
Right? She's like, no, like, he's like, okay, peace, I'm gonna go leave you now that you are pretty much stuck in place.
Oh my god, yeah. I thought this scene was just too fucking... It reminded me of a Saw movie, like a Saw trap.
Really?
It was a little too much, and it was just kind of threw me out of it a little bit. So you like this death?
I did. I mean, I don't lie. I wish she made it, but no, I do. Yeah. I feel for her because it's something relating to her. She's like, what did she say? She's like, why are you doing this now? She's like, I've been through a lot of stuff lately. I just think it's time to like make sure I see everything. Again, hokey and like campy, but like, all right, I'm feeling this. So I do feel bad because it's not like an instant, like the other ones, it's kind of like instant. This one, she gets like lasered a few times and then she's so caught off guard when she finally breaks free and then she falls out of the window. So I'm like, oh, my girl suffered a little bit.
No, she definitely did. Yeah. And the effects were actually pretty decent. The effect
good.
of the laser going into the eye. I mean, it was, I don't know. I think this was just a little bit too camp for me.
Okay.
Or,
Yeah, I like
falling
this.
through the window so easily and the computer malfunctioning and it getting super hot, the laser or whatever. I mean, it's like, okay, what's going on here, you know? I don't know. But it was okay. I was, anything with the eye, I'm kind of touchy with. I can't even do eye drops, let alone contacts. Okay. So I'm very squeamish with the eye. So I think half of the scene I was looking away and not even really looking. So I guess it accomplished that.
Yeah, I like
for people that don't love eyes. But if I never see this scene again, I think I'll be all right.
Now, what about? So let's get to the interesting one. Nathan, he's working wherever the companies that they were. I don't know what the company is, but their factory. He has a coworker who's always like a douchebag to him, and he accidentally ends up killing his coworker, which I thought that was cool. When they don't show it, he like accidentally pushes him off. You think he was like hung, he got hung, and then it's like you just start to see blood dropping. And it's like, oh no, there's a fucking hook in him, and then it drops further. Like that was cool, but he accidentally killed him. And when he tells the group what he did, they're like, oh, so you have his life, you're good. So I thought that was a cool way to kind of like introduce our characters doing that without actually being like killers. He didn't really mean to kill him, but it happened to an asshole character. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And again, you're not to like kind of think about it too much because you're not supposed to, but it makes you wonder, like, okay, so even if you accidentally cause a death, you still steal the life from that person. So it opens up a lot of different kind of avenues. And I thought it was a smart way to kind of introduce our group to that concept instead of just one of them going out and killing someone right away. You know, Peter, I thought it was a good kind of bridge for Peter because Peter can see that it worked in real time and he can kind of have a little bit more conviction by the end of the movie,
When he's like, and once that happens, he's like, you can tell his like, something's clicking up here. And then it's hilarious how David Kushner and Dennis, he comes like right after the incident, he gets dispatched like instantly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, another example of one of my favorite characters, side characters, kind of gets it a little bit quick. I love David Kushner. It's like a wrench, right?
Death. A wrench to the face quick.
It's a shocking death, but considering the amount of screen time he had too, because he was kind of off doing his own thing for the whole movie, he wasn't really part of our group. And we didn't even talk about kind of the group as a whole. I kind of, I do like how they were coworkers. They went back to like the adults. But I do like how they have a connection because they're coworkers. I thought that was pretty smart. And I'm surprised they never really thought of that in the past. Because anytime we had adults, it was more just like strangers for the most part. Right. And you had like maybe like little couples here and there. But so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Dennis, he was kind of doing his own thing. He was the boss of the whole company, the branch of the company. And he was getting some screen time. You had... What's his name? Agent Block was like, I guess, talking to him on the side.
He was calling him on the side, like, "Oh, this guy's doing something weird."
He had a couple funny scenes with Agent Block on the phone, and him trying to figure out how to deactivate the key cards. That scene was really funny. So I thought that he was going to get a more prolonged death sequence, and I was a little disappointed.
Okay,
that it was kind of a quick hit with him.
I love it. I don't know if it was Peter or they were like right after whatever happens to Roy, they're like, who's next? Who next? And after Dennis dies, Sam's like, Dennis. And whatever his name is, Nathan's like, no shit. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Yeah. I fucking howled at that scene too.
Yeah. That was funny.
But it's so weird because after that, it's almost like Sam's like, maybe we're good and I wasn't meant to die. And then he does the whole like cooking for Molly at dinner. It's like they kind of like have like at ease after that. Instead of building, they kind of like calm down, like, oh, we should be good. Yeah, Peter off doing his thing. Then you have Molly and Sam, and Nathan thinks he's good because he took Roy's whatever time he had left. So you kind of like slow down a bit, and I don't know if this is where the pacing is just, but then, then we have Sam and Molly do their whole cute thing, go to Paris. Oh, we didn't even mention that Sam in the beginning, he has this offer to go to Paris to be a chef or whatever. So that's kind of a theme throughout. Like, do what you love. You don't know how much time you have left.
Yeah, and again, a lot of people kick themselves after watching this movie saying, oh, how could I not see the ending? How could I not see it? And we're in the spoiler territory, so we can talk about it. Yeah. Spoilers ahead, obviously. I give it a pass. I don't see how you could see it because they've played with the idea of Paris in a lot of movies in this franchise.
Right.
They've mentioned Paris, so that fits right in with some of these other sequels. I know a couple other sequels have mentioned Paris, so I kind of don't really blame people. I know but it's like one of those where you're
it's
kicking
so
yourself.
Fast because when you go back, every sequel you fucking watch mentions Flight 180, and this one doesn't, and then you have the Paris of it all, and then you don't really see too much like looking on the internet or so it's like it's all there, but like you're right, it's not like in your face, but it's subtly in the background. So I do think they played that very well.
No, I do. I think there was barely any breadcrumbs, but it's enough to where when you go back and watch it, it's like, you're kind of like, oh my god, how did I miss that? It's very easy to, yeah, for sure.
So what do you think of the whole pretty much, Nathan exits stage, he thinks he's good, he's working, and Molly and Sam go to dinner and Peter's like out on the streets, contemplating killing someone. What do you think about like them rekilling their relationship and like, them like, oh yeah, we're going to Paris, yay, and then he cooks for her. Do you like that the third act climax is pretty much just in an abandoned, empty restaurant and he's just cooking for her? Or is that kind of like wah for you?
I didn't have a problem with it. I think one of the more dangerous places to be in a Final Destination movie is a kitchen. I mean, you have so many different things that can kill you.
And they kind of play with that when he goes to work a little bit.
Yeah, I actually think they had the right setting, but I think they could have played into it more once we get into the whole climax of it all. Right. I think they kind of did a little bit with Peter, but I think they could have leaned into that even more and we could have got a cooler set piece out of it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like if he like, I don't know, like he cooked for Molly when the restaurant was still open and like a lot of crazy shit was happening back there when it's not just them two and we have to wait for Peter for the shenanigans to start because Peter really, like you see, obviously the grease is like, boiling, whatever, but Peter really kicks it into place when he literally says, I'm taking Molly's life because she doesn't deserve to live when everyone else is dead, which is ridiculous. Like, Peter, you're a bad dude.
I think one thing that could have made this whole sequence better was Sam should have been the next one to go. And
not
Peter should have been, I guess, maybe after him. I don't know how they would have worked it in the script, but it would have been, I think, more tense if you see Sam kind of in the back cooking. You get kind of fake outs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when Peter shows up, you see Peter kind of turning on all the burners and turning on the greaser. So now you're scared for Sam because it's his turn. And on top of it, Peter has a gun and he's trying to kill them. Right. So I think the fact that it was Peter's turn the whole time kind of took away the suspense because now it's like, okay, he's the bad guy of the film, but he's supposed to die next. So I don't really feel anything towards our lead Sam. I know obviously you feel for Molly because he's trying to kill Molly and take her years, but I thought it would have been an extra kind of wrinkle if Sam was up next as opposed to Peter.
I see what you're saying. And then it also because he ends up killing Agent Block.
Yes.
Instead of Molly, and then he goes full villain. It's like, well, you saw it happen, so I have to kill you too. So then you're literally like, all right, Peter's got to go. He's got to be killed like immediately. He's full on, mustache twirling villain right now. So he's really got to be taken out. I do like the way that how Sam does come and kill him in the end. So we don't even know how the rules work. Does he take his life even though he was in death's design? It's all fucked. I feel like the rules are thrown out the window after that happens. And then there's a fake out where something like flies off whatever and it doesn't hit Sam. He's like, oh, I guess I'm good. But I'm like, oh. No. You have no idea what death is coming.
Yeah, it's like death inception at this point. It's like, okay, Peter killed Block, and now Sam killed Peter, so Sam has Block's years. So it's like a double layer. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
No, I think it was. I agree with you. I enjoyed the finale. I do think it had the potential to be like a lot better, but I again, way better than we talked. I think it was way better than the mall shit, which had what they had at their disposal there was such a huge opportunity. I just felt that fell flat. Where I don't think this fell flat, but I think it had a lot more opportunity to like be like, oh, like let's go.
So we talked about this. I don't love how death isn't at the forefront in this finale.
Yeah, that's what
I like the premise of it in them trying to do something different with Peter, but I wish death was still kind of doing its thing the whole time, and it kind of takes a back seat. You know, you see like the gun heating up and stuff, but other than that, it's pretty much a straight up face off until Sam finally gets Peter. So I do wish death played more of a role in this whole climax for sure. And you know, it's death saving itself for this next scene. So
that's what I'm saying. The movie like ends on a fucking banger.
It redeems itself.
They knew like we have something in our sleeve. We can have this like kind of chillish but still exciting finale, and we're gonna like fucking really gonna fuck them in a couple minutes. So yeah, so Molly and Sam are alive, and so is Nathan. But Molly and Sam, we only flash forward 2 weeks later, if I'm not mistaken, after the finale, and they're boarding their plane to Paris. And guys, this is where I had a mini heart attack in the theater, where we hear like a fight going on, and Sam turns around, and it's Carter and Alex and the whole crew from Final Destination 1 fighting on the airplane after Alex has premonition. So surprise, this is not a sequel, this is a prequel. And god damn, it was fucking perfection. I thought it was perfect. So it shows them being removed from the plane, and then you hear like one of the flight attendants like what happened with the guy, and they're like, oh, he said something about having a dream or a vision that the plane was going on. And then you cut back to Sam, and she's like, fuck, we're fucked. So they're already going up, and then poor Sam and Molly, they are dispatched. I like how you see the ticket of like the whatever 11th 2000. I'm so happy that they did the dates right, because you have no idea how many movies fuck up dates. You know, I don't know how they don't do their research, but this was perfect with the 2000. And you have fucking the plane go down. I think the way that Molly, I think it's very obviously it's more updated and graphic than the OG, where the OG felt like a lot more realistic and grim, like we commented. I thought this was fun for the tone of Final Destination 5, how like Molly like flew out and like hit the wing of the plane and split in half, and then you just have Sam just catch on fire and the whole plane explodes. I mean, to me, this is just chef's fucking kiss. So before we get to the real ending with Nathan, poor Nathan, who thought he took Roy's life, where poor Roy was not really meant to live much longer. But what do you think about the airplane stuff? I fucking so good.
If you're listening and you want to show this movie to someone for the first time, don't have the subtitles on, because it ruins the surprise. Before you even see Alex, the subtitles, it says Alex. I think it might even say his full name. I was just watching it, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe the subtitles would do that too. Yeah, so just be warned. If you haven't seen this movie, if you're showing it to someone, have them kind of close their eyes for a second and just you know, or just take the subtitles off.
That is wild. Dude.
Yeah, I know. It's like, damn. I mean, good thing that theaters don't have subtitles.
Yeah, I would have been fucking pissed if I was in the theater and that happened.
But yeah, this is a great sequence. Again, it makes... this is where my mind goes. I just love the whole kind of world building and mechanics of death every time we get a cool sequence like this. So Molly fucking dies, and she dies. I mean, holy shit. I mean, everyone dies. So it makes you wonder, was she always supposed to die?
That's what I'm saying, but not until that moment.
On the plane or
right.
on that date, because she was supposed to be original survivor.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to just be someone without a boyfriend, without Sam. She was just going to go live, but was she going to die anywhere, or was death pissed off at everything and said, you know what, fuck her. She doesn't deserve to live anymore. That's kind of how I fucking feel.
Yeah, I feel like Death's like new design now, and she's fucking part of it. Like,
yeah, and it's like so Death's always changing its design because it's just getting pissed off.
And you know, because we saw, obviously, Final Destination 1, that Alex had the vision of the plane, not Sam. So you know that Sam, what's happening, isn't going to cut back to like part 3 and part 4 for another premonition. Like, no, the premonition already happened, and it wasn't Sam. So I thought that was like, they're fucked. Like, they're this. I do think it's kind of heartbreaking, the sense of, again, they're not my favorite characters, but the sense of like hopelessness you immediately see in Sam's face, because he's like, oh, there's nothing left for us to do. Like, we're going down, we're dying. The way he just looks at Molly, he's like, sorry, like, we're done. I thought that was.
I think it's also so heartbreaking too, because in the original premonition on the bridge, he saves Molly, and you could see in his face in this, scene, he's trying to save Molly again, but the hopelessness as she's getting sucked out of the plane is like,
well, and you gotta think that to make it even more heartbreaking, like they're going to Paris for him, so like she didn't have to be there. So it's just guys, if you're a fan of the franchise, it's such a treat the way this movie ends. Like it's not even an Easter egg. It's like a thank you, almost like one of your favorite twists, like going back to the marked ones with Paranormal Activity. It's kind of one of those wraparounds where it's like a thank you to you guys for sticking with us for the whole franchise. I thought it was like such a fitting ending for the time being. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, it gagged me the first time.
Yeah, and then we get to my favorite part of the whole movie is the actual tribute on the end credits.
Yes,
we get all the deaths from. I forget what song is playing. I think it's Alice Cooper or like Aerosmith.
Yeah,
or something.
I'll play it on our
song.
I'll find it for our Instagram post.
Yeah, for sure. But it has like that cool montage of all the deaths from all of the different movies. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the when they're on the road, you see the log, the truck with the logs. I
love that. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Part 2's opening. I'm
assuming they're going to do that again, because I don't know if you saw the marketing for this new one.
I did.
They're doing that too. So I don't know if they're going to have a lot of callbacks to the franchise with this new one.
I feel like they might have to, with especially be calling Bloodlines. I would assume it's like a throwback type thing. But what do you think? I just love.
They should have called it Generations. I would have liked that.
Okay.
Bloodlines is cool too.
I like Bloodlines. What do you and then right before we do cut to that montage, you do have the whole Nathan learns that his coworker Roy was gonna drop dead. He had some brain clot or something, and then you just see the fucking plane come into the memorial and just take out Nathan in very 3D fashion. But I thought that was hilarious. Poor Nathan was killed.
Yeah,
he didn't live much longer after taking Roy's life. But then you cut back to, like you said, like they go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which I think is fucking sweet.
Yeah, it's something that the movie really didn't touch on because obviously we didn't have time to explore it. But it's something that I was thinking about. It's like, okay, if you take someone's life, you get their years, but you got to be strategic, because if someone, I mean, death is inevitable for anyone. So it's like, how long do you really have?
Right.
So it's interesting
also
that they play into that. So now going back, that I'm assuming that means Agent Block only had 2 weeks to live as well, because if he had Block's years, then that means he was gonna die. Or is this all just?
But is this all like Tony or like Bloodworth just theorizing? Is that's just like, you may think that you took their life, but I'm going to come back and get you twice as hard. Yeah,
that's what I was getting at. Did they steal their lives, or were they just going to die no matter what anyway?
That's where I think, I mean, some people, that's one of their complaints, that there's no, the rules are always, loosey-goosey. But I almost think that's part of the franchise's strength, because there is no set in stone when you take a step back. There's all these theories of, newborn defeats death, or take someone's life. I like that. Mean, yeah, I
like it because this is a franchise that, it's the same plot pretty much every movie. So you need to break it up with the way death kind of goes about it. And I like the concept of death always kind of changing its mind and kind of changing the rules. It seems like it's going to do that in a big way in this new movie.
Right.
How it goes after the family members of one of the, I guess, this elderly lady who survived. I mean, I don't know if you watched the trailer, but it's called Bloodlines because it's going to go after the family of a survivor. I mean, we've never seen that. So it's almost like death is always kind of just doing what it wants. And I like that because it kind of gives death this kind of slasher-esque, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, and I love how they don't explain it. I think we're on the
same page where it's smart that we don't have a definitive, do this to defeat it. I mean, if you want to take, a step back just, to reality, it's the theme of the whole franchise is you can't cheat death or defeat death, and that's in real life, that's the only guarantee. So no matter what you do, death will prevail, which is also the theme of the franchise. So it's kind of
there's definitely in the sequels, there's things that these characters do, and they all try to cheat death a different way,
right?
And in the end, none of it matters.
Which is for all of us, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hell yeah, death's gonna win. I mean, come on.
I like that. I think that's pretty smart.
All right, I'm happy that you agree, because I'm kind of I don't understand the critique. I don't want to straight up do this because there is no straight up answer to defeat it. So I like that. All right, cool. Yeah, dude, this is a really good Final Destination movie. And the end just takes it up a notch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we got through it. All right. Time to get to our never split up moments.
All right.
I'm kind of struggling with mine. I don't really know what I'm going to pick. Do you have one in mind that you want to go with?
I'm thinking right now, there's so many, like, I want to do like a boring one, but it's just I scream at the TV every time I watch it. It's when I don't like that the doctor leaves Olivia alone. It's
Okay.
just such a horrible, like, he can get sued. Like, thank God these people die, because he would be sued by them if they did. If she lived and had those scars from the laser, that would be horrible. But like, you don't say like, "Are you good and tight? You can't move. Okay, peace out. I'm gonna leave." And then he tells Molly and Sam when they walk in, like, she's fine, and meanwhile she's like screaming bloody murder back there. They have to sprint back there. So I mean, I want to say that one is kind of boring, but I want to say that he leaves Olivia. Like, horrible, 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 horrible doctor.
Yeah.
So I want to say that. There's like little quirky ones, but I don't know. That one pisses me off every time I watch it, because again, for some reason, she's like my favorite character in this.
I mean, I have a couple different ones. I have Candace. I don't think I'm going to go with Candace because she was the first death, so it's kind of, I'm being a little harsh on her. But when her wristband snaps, when she's doing the lucky thing that she does with her wristband, and then the lights dim, it's, you as an audience member know what's going on, so you want to scream at the character, but you really can't blame the character for that. I think I'm going to go with our two leads, Sam and Molly, particularly Sam. I don't like how it was only 2 weeks after the events that he goes on a fucking international flight. I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I mean,
let's play it safe. Let's do 6 months.
let's go to like a retreat somewhere that's much safer. Let's stay home for a couple months. I mean, after everything they just went through, they watched all of their coworkers die, like brutal deaths, and I don't know if I'm getting on a plane that quickly, and I don't even have a fear of planes like other people, but
same, yeah.
That is like, to me, it's like they don't even question it either, right? I mean, because he tells her like, "Oh, I'm going to Paris, and I want you to come with me." Before Peter tries to kill them, that whole set piece happens. Right. And then they're just on the plane 2 weeks later. It's like, I don't know, guys. So I think I'm going to go with that scene.
No, that's a good one.
I
like that.
Just kind of going on flight 180.
They thought they defeated death, like, right, like, just like that. And they're like, oh,
yeah, they were just going to move on right away. It's like, oh, man, come on.
No, I like those moments because they are just kind of like dumbass people. We're really going to have to pay attention when we see the movie, because we're going to have to, like, pick it, like, within the, like, in it, watching the first time, our never split up moment. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah. Usually the internet's pretty good. It'll have probably all the deaths listed by the time we record. People are right on that right away. No, I mean,
well, good, but
it's a good resource. I mean, it's not like people. I mean, the people on Twitter that spoil stuff, that sucks. But there's usually like a Wikipedia page that'll have all the deaths listed right away if people want to look it up. So, okay, let's wrap this episode up though.
All right.
We're gonna save our scores once again. So. Stay tuned for in the next couple of weeks. We're going to do kind of a franchise recap. We'll rank all the movies and we'll do our scores and vote for either one of us in the poll. I think you said you're going to run a bunch of these polls.
Yeah, I want to get through the whole franchise before we cover
next weekend. Yeah, okay. So follow us on social media for that. I've Never Split Up Pod on Twitter or X and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're almost at 300 subscribers on YouTube. That'd be a really cool milestone to get before summertime. So, leave us your comments. Comments always helps. Rate us on Spotify and YouTube. Leave us a review on YouTube. I know that helps with the YouTube podcast things. And this was another fun discussion. Anything else before we wrap up, Ant?
No, I'm happy we got through the first 5, and I'm so stoked that the next movie we're covering is a brand new theatrical release, the Final Destination Bloodlines. So we're not done with the franchise yet. We're going to review that movie, and then we'll have our ranking episode following. So make sure you guys check out these 5 episodes, go see the new movie, and we want to get your rankings too, because I love seeing the diverse rankings of all these franchises. Not just us two, so it's cool. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, this episode's being released on the 14th, so if you are watching this in preparation for the new movie, have fun, be safe, watch out for death. And report back here next week. We're going to cover the new movie. So until next time, this is the Never Split Up Podcast. We'll see you guys later. Bye.